Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this Sunday's rendition of Speak Your Mind with Larry Cox. Thanks for joining me tonight. We're going to start off as usual. Hey, guys, share, like the show, build the audience. I'm going to say hello to a bunch of people in the room here in a little bit. So, share, like the show. Let's build the audience before we get to discussing our topics for tonight. So, let me go ahead and say hello to my friends here tonight. Good evening, Corliss Turner. Corliss, hope you're still out of town. Travel safe. Charlotte Gellert, welcome to the show. Russo, welcome to the show. Bill Campbell, welcome to the show. Clayton Orwick, welcome to the show. Ben Garcia, welcome to the show. Renee Harris Simpson, welcome to the show. Justin Kinney, welcome to the show. Welcome to the show, everybody. And again, share, like the show. Let's build the audience. Let's start the conversation. First of all, it's starting to get cold out there tonight, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen. So I know that the day it was started off in the 40s, and my thing says it's like 28 degrees right now. Feels like 18, and it is going to get 19 degrees tonight. So let's make sure we take our precautions tonight. Let your water drip tonight. If you make sure if you've got some outdoor spigots, make sure they're protected. Let's take care of what we need to do, because I think we're going to have a cold night tonight and tomorrow night, and Tuesday still going to be below 30 degrees, and we don't get above the freezing at night until we roll in around Wednesday. So let's make sure we do all that and everything. So Corliss is home safely with a good report. That's right, pets inside too, because I know my mine go in and out, and they don't stay out long, and they want to get back in that house as soon as possible, because they don't like the frigid conditions that we are facing with this polar vortex honing in on us at this time. So yes, make sure that you take those precautions tonight, tomorrow night, especially as we have those below freezing temperatures that are going to hover in the teens the next those 2 nights. So do take caution with pipes, people, and pets. That's good analogy there, Cheryl. Thank you for that. So where do we get started tonight? So on my thing, I said we were going to talk about 5 commissioners, and we were going to talk about water and sewer. And we are. And we're going to talk about the 5 commissioners. They had a town hall this week. I was not able to go to the town hall because I was at a Board of Education meeting, and I was disappointed I didn't get to go to that town hall. But I definitely would have liked to have gone to that town hall and discussed what government should look like in Rockdale County. So let's get into that. So what would I personally like to see government look like? I would like to see districts at large for our commissioners, at least 4, maybe 5. If it would be 4 at large, I would like to see 4 not large by districts, 4 by districts, and a chairperson elected at large part-time. I would like for all 5 commissioners to be part-time commissioners. And yes, I do want a county manager. And the county manager would have the authority that would be granted to them through the enacting legislation, and the legislation would assure that the county manager would answer to the commission as a whole. The commission would give the county manager their marching orders. They would determine the process by which the day-to-day operations would be run. The county commission would determine the policies and procedures, and they would give that county manager their marching orders. And then that county manager would carry out the orders of the board as a whole. It's not that difficult. It is done all over Georgia, all over America. and it is done very successfully. Um, what I think we have right now is I do not like our process. Our chairperson is the day-to-day executive, but they are also part of the legislative branch, which creates a conflict. And then our two post one and post two commissioners are supposed to be the legislative branch, but they meddle in the day-to-day operations. So this system we have now doesn't work and hasn't worked. And then also you've got two part-time commissioners who have personal assistants, full-time personal assistants. Okay. So that needs to change. If you have a board of over three, if you have the five, then they're allowed to have one-on-one conversations, and you do away with the need for personal assistants. And actually, how can we do away with the personal assistance altogether? In the charter, in the enacting legislation that we would change to be able to go to the 5 districts, this is what we do. We actually say there will be no personal assistance, that the county manager, and that we would have a secretary of the board, similar to the Rockdale County Board of Education has a secretary of the board who gives us messages and stuff when we can't do a quorum. We have small groups when we need to discuss things. In that case, it would be groups of 2. Whether you had 5, you could have groups of 2 having meetings with the county bureaucrats discussing those things. So that would be the county manager would be accountable to the 5 commissioners, just as the superintendent of schools is accountable to the Board of Education. But you could make it even a tighter grip when you do the enacting legislation, and even define the roles of the county manager that would answer to the board. And people mention Newton County sometimes. Newton County, I don't like their system because they have a full-time county manager and a full-time chairman. When you have that, you have conflict when you have 2 people doing day-to-day operations. So we would not want our board members or our chairperson doing day-to-day operations. If we would elect the chairperson to be a part-time person at large, then we would define what their roles would be, what their role would be in the enacting legislation. And we would not allow there to be a conflict between that of the county manager and of the chairperson of the board. I would be fine with doing the board chair, that the 5 people that are on the board would elect a chair among themselves. But if the citizens of Rockdale County would prefer to elect a board chair, then we elect a part-time board chair who makes the same amount of money as the other part-time chairpersons. Now, what this county commission, as all county commissions argue, which is going to cost you so much money. No, it's not. The full-time chairperson now makes $150,000. You reduce that person's salary to the 40 to 45,000 that the others make, and you have $105,000. You divide that in 2, and that pays the other commissioners. And what about this county manager? Well, we have positions now that are equivalent to the county manager, the CEO, CFO, whatever they want to call the other person, that they have that bureaucratic individual who makes the equivalent of what a county manager would make. You just do away with that position, and you make that position the county manager position with that pay. It would cost no more money to have 5 versus 3 by eliminating the full-time pay for the chairperson, and by eliminating the assistants that make $70,000, $80,000 a piece. So there's $250,000 in savings that could go to employ 2 additional part-time commissioners at $40,000. That's $80,000, and that's still $120,000, $30,000 left. Vuka Russo says I'm making total sense, and it does make total sense. And when this is the thing about it, somebody told me this the other day. Everybody who runs for commission in Rockdale County is 4 or 5 until they get elected. Then they said, well, then they say these magic words. Well, wait till I get out of office and then change the form of government. Then you have a group of people running for it and they'll get elected on the premise, well, we want to expand the board. We want 5 commissioners. Then when they get elected, they say, well, you know what? Wait till we serve our terms, then change the form of government. So nobody who, when they get in, they don't want to change the form of government because they like the power that they have. The vote of 2. 2 people agree and it happens. 2 people agree and it happens. That's just the way it works, right? So I think that's what we need to look at. In Rockdale County, we need to look at that when we elect people, they say these things. But like, look, we just had elections and we were not happy with the past administration. We weren't happy with the courthouse debacle. And that was a main issue that we ran on, right? We didn't. We did not like that. Then we didn't like the fact that we wanted 5 commissioners and we wanted 5 commissioners. And that's what we were saying during the election. And, we said that, what was another issue? With courthouse, 5 commissioners, we wanted the Water and Sewer Authority to be back online. We wanted that oversight with that authority because we still have on paper a Water and Sewer Authority, but nobody meeting. So we want that. We still have this fund that is being managed by the Board of Commission that should be having oversight by a Water and Sewer Authority. So there's a lot of things going on that went on in the past administration, and we voted for a new administration because we wanted change. We wanted change is what we wanted. And we got talk of change, but we got limited change. We got a lot of talk and limited change. Now, do I prefer this administration over the last administration? 100% I prefer this administration over the last administration. But if this administration doesn't follow through and make the change that we asked for, then I believe we change this administration. We change politicians like we change our socks. You know what? We change them daily. John Logan says he sees little change. And I, let's just say this recycling center debacle. This was a terrible rollout, a terrible idea. Why do I think we continue to have terrible ideas coming from this administration, just like we did the previous administration? I'm going to tell you why. Because we didn't change enough people that were in the previous administration. When you leave the same bureaucrats in charge, you get the same kind of behavior, the same kind of ideas. And I'm going to say this, and before I say it, don't people go crazy on me because you don't like Donald Trump or you don't like Joe Biden. This is what I'm saying. Joe Biden did not keep Donald Trump's people. Donald Trump did not keep Joe Biden's people. And there's a reason why. Because they wanted their ideas and their type of government to be what was being brought forward and their ideas. If you keep the leftover regimes, if you keep the leftovers from the previous regime, then the current regime is going to resemble the past administration because it's got the same people in place. And that's what you've got to understand. When you elect these new officials to go in, you've got to change. When the majority changes, you have to change behind the scenes. I ran for a position. And one of the things that I ran for. Now, again, I'm going to do my disclaimer. What I'm about to say does not represent the opinion of the Board of Education or any other board members. I'm just stating a campaign fact that I said. I ran for office saying we needed a change. And the only way to truly get that change at the Board of Education was to change the superintendent. Okay. So that's what we did. We had a change of leadership in the superintendent's position. And with that happening, that's what happened, right? We did that. I'm going to tell you a little something, Clayton, about that letter, right? Letter wasn't necessary, but I'm going to tell you why. I believe at the end of the day, the governor would have vetoed that because his council would have advised him to. For one fact, the bill was flawed. When the bill altered the position of the chairperson before that term expired, it wasn't going to pass constitutional muster because they introduced legislation that changed or altered the position of someone who was elected to office to serve a term. So, you know what? The letter shouldn't have did the letter but I'm glad they did the letter because the letter shows you what they believed in and didn't believe in, right? The letter actually lets you, just like the Wizard of Oz, the letter lets you see behind the curtain, right? The letter lets you know the true feelings of the existing board. Was the letter necessary? Letter wasn't necessary. Governor Kemp would have vetoed that legislation because that was flawed legislation when it altered the term of an elected official that you voted for. But that's what it is, right? Correct, Renee. It showed their stance, their position. So I'm glad the letter was sent. Wasn't necessary. And if they would have been thinking about this politically and being smart, they wouldn't have sent the letter. Somebody would have just made a phone call and had a conversation. But no, they wrote a letter, and the people of Rockdale County, knowing how to do open records requests, open records requests are sent, and questions are asked at a retreat, and voila, that was the way it was. Corliss Turner, correct. The PFA was actually a backdoor way to get what they wanted with the courthouse. And just telling you guys, when the new administration took office in January, they could have did a screeching halt to that project. But truth be known, they didn't want to because they wanted this project also. So you've got to look at it. Truth be known, they could have put a screeching halt to that. This county is operating at a deficit right now. They are Baroque, B-R-O-K-E with a capital B. And we did not need to go forward with that project, with this county being in the financial throes that it is in right now. It was a terrible mistake. And it's one of the reasons that you, the voters of Rockdale County, voted out the previous administration, because that's one of the things you wanted changed. You didn't want the courthouse project to continue. You wanted 5 commissioners. You wanted the water and sewer authority reinstated. You wanted transparency. You didn't want people to keep gaslighting you. You know, I did not go to that meeting, but people talked to me about the meeting. I've watched clips of the meeting, and I'll tell you something else. I saw the PowerPoints, right? You remember when we talked about the previous administration and all the gaslighting that they did? Let me tell you what, that meeting was a bit of a gaslighting meeting, just going to be honest with you, right? So let me tell you what's going to happen with this 5 commission and expansion of the board. I have spoken with some of the members of the legislature. They are not going to introduce legislation this term, and I think it's a smart process they're going to do. Some of the complaints that they've heard from this administration is, well, both parties didn't ask the same questions. Well, this coming May, both parties are going to ask the same questions when it comes to what kind of government we want, what that should look like. Do you want a county manager? Do you want 5? Do you want them by districts? Do you want them at large? And those questions are going to be asked on the Democrat and Republican ballots. So that's going to take that off the table and no arguing. And when the people come back and say they want ABC, and that's what the legislature introduces, and they're going to have specific town hall. Now, people will tell you they didn't have they had town halls. They had town halls regarding a bill with a different number. It was a House bill. The only difference, it was the exact same bill. They just brought it in the Senate instead of the House. They did have public meetings regarding that legislation. When people say they don't, they're gaslighting you too. They had meetings and they talked about it. Not only did we have specific meetings about that legislation, there were open meetings and town hall meetings in general regarding expanding the Board of Commission. There are going to be additional town hall meetings. And then you've got this big caveat that the Board of Commission will throw out to you. Well, we didn't ask for you to change the form of government. Well, I don't know if you realize this or not, but it's not up to the Board of Commissioners to ask the state legislature or to ask you what form of government you want. As citizens of this county, you have the right to go to your legislators and ask them to introduce legislation on your behalf. As members of this county, as voters, you have the right to say, this is what I would like my county government to look like. And as elected officials, if you don't want to sit on that board, then don't run for it. You ran for an office that the citizens of this county decided they wanted to exist, not that you want to exist for you to possess. It is not your seat. It is not your government. It is the people's government. Now, that's some big things to that's some big things to digest, isn't it? Big things to digest right there, right? So I must tell you. So, but this time, Clayton, the questions are going to be more. They'll be the exact same questions, formatted in the exact same way. So there can't be any arguing about it, or people gaslighting, or misrepresenting, or manipulating. Right? You're going to have the exact same questions, formatted the exact same way, and then there will be no argument. And then when we didn't ask for it. When the county commission says we didn't ask for it, we didn't send a resolution. Well, you know what? The citizens of this county are the ones asking for this change. They're the ones asking for the opportunity to vote for it by a ballot initiative. And they're not asking, and they're demanding that you step out of the way and do not block their rights to vote for something that they want to see. That's what the citizens of this county are demanding. So let's see how this flows. That's what's going to happen. I think Joy Powers, they did have meetings regarding the legislation. I attended a couple. Yeah, that's right. We did send them. John, those are not the ballot questions that you're thinking. You're thinking about when they do the amendment questions and such. These will be plain questions. They've been on the ballot before. But both sides didn't ask the same. You'll be asked, are you in favor of commissioners at large? And you'll say yes or no. Are you in favor of commissioners by district? You'll say yes or no. Are you in favor of a county manager? You'll say yes or no. It's point blank. And when these questions were asked on the ballots before, and on the ballots that they were asked on, they were overwhelmingly supported by the citizens. The citizens that were asked if they wanted a county manager was over 60-some% that said yes. The citizens that were asked if they wanted 5 commissioners by district, it was over 60-some% that said yes. So, and I think when you ask these to both parties, you're going to get very similar. You're going to have a majority of individuals who are going to want both of these things because that's what people want. They want something different. They want a different form of government. And then well, wait till I'm gone. If we wait till you're gone and we elect somebody else, then they say, wait till I'm gone. And that's what happens. It's like straw poll questions, exactly, Charlotte. So, and it gives you the feel of what the community wants. Well, I go to town halls, and that's one of the questions I'll be asked at a town hall. And if there are 40 people at a town hall, and you say, how many people in here want districts? If there are 40 people there, 35 to 38 people will say we want 5 commissioners at districts. If you ask them how many want a county manager, and there are 40 people there, probably 30, 32, 33 people raise their hand. Yes, they want a county manager. So, I mean, that's just the reality. When you go to these meetings and you talk to people out in this community, that's what this community wants, right? But why wouldn't elected officials want this? Because it would weaken their power and their authority. They like the power of two, right? You're one person, you get one other person to go along with you. It's the law of the land. A lot easier than to get 3 people to go along with you. Then when you've got the 5 people, again, you don't all need assistance. And you put that in the enacting legislation. You put in there that no commissioner shall have a personal assistant, that there shall be a secretary of the board that all commissioners will communicate through, right? You will have a county manager that all commissioners will communicate through. You will have your meeting. You can have small group meetings. You can have group meetings of up to 2 commissioners coming in and discussing things. You can then talk one-on-one with each other and discuss. I do that on a board. I am able to have one-on-one conversations with my colleagues. I'm able to talk with up to 2 of my colleagues at one time. We had some questions after a board meeting this past session, and 3 of us went in with a department head and the superintendent and asked some questions because we were allowed to, because we did not have a quorum, because there were only 3 of us. And it gives you a lot of flexibility as a board when you can meet and not have a quorum and have conversations. It enables you to work through awkward and difficult things and have an understanding. And then the first time you're able to talk about it as at a board meeting and it's awkward and you're not able to clearly articulate what you're wanting to say because you don't know what each other feel about it because you've not been able to have conversations. This clears the air a lot. And then Corliss put some numbers up there a little bit ago about how many counties have this many commissioners and such, right? Yes, Justin, you and I talk about issues. You and I discuss issues a lot to make sure that we are on the same page and we don't make mistakes when we're going to make decisions. I don't want to make a mistake. Justin, not only did I talk to you this week, but I talked to several other of our colleagues individually about subject matter because I wanted to make sure I was on the same page and understood the material the way I thought that it was presented to me. And after doing such, I feel comfortable about making a decision because I'm able to have one-on-one conversations with my colleagues on the board. It makes flow a lot better. It makes the process flow a lot better. It actually makes transparency flow a lot better. So guys, I'm just telling you, this will work. I am 1,000% in favor of the 5 commissioners. So I have ranted and raved about that for a few minutes. Now I'm going to go on to issue number 2, sewer and water. So there was some legislation that was passed back in the late 90s that created the Rockdale County Water and Sewer Authority. And that authority was made up of a 7-person board. And that board was appointed by the Board of Commission. So there are some conditions that have to be met before this board can be dissolved. Well, just telling you, has anybody heard say that the Rockdale County Board of Commission has asked the local delegation to introduce legislation to dissolve the Board Sewer and Water Authority? The answer to that is no. They have not asked the local delegation to dissolve the Water and Sewer Authority because there is still need for the Water and Sewer Authority because of debt and bonding, right? So, but do we have an active Water and Sewer Authority? No. So what our Board of Commission has done, and goes back 3, 4, maybe even 5 administrations, because we all know about the Parker Road property, which I like that property. I'm glad the county owns it. Well, my understanding is that property was bought with water and sewer money that was misappropriated at the time and was not authorized by the Water and Sewer Authority. So we have a long history, and then you had some timbering that took place and some monies, and the county pocketed that money, didn't put it in the enterprise fund. And you have members who are listed to the state of Georgia as being active members of the Water and Sewer Authority when the Water and Sewer Authority hasn't met since 2018, 2019. But there is a little condition in that says anyone that is on the authority remains on the authority until they're replaced. So those people that were on the authority in 2018 and 2019 are still on the authority because they've not been replaced. And one says, well, do they have to replace them? The answer is yes. They have to replace them because the county has not went to the legislature and asked them to dissolve the authority. But in my opinion, I don't believe they can ask the legislature to dissolve the authority because they've not met the conditions that allow them to dissolve the authority. So what do I think needs to happen? First of all, I think the Water and Sewer Authority needs to meet again, which I have heard through the grapevine that may happen, that the previous members who have discovered that they're still being listed by the county as the Water and Sewer Authority are going to get the band back together and have a meeting. And I think they're going to send the county another letter because the last time they met, they sent the county a letter. So it'll be interesting because when they do meet, I intend on going to their meeting and hearing what because I was one of the few county residents who attended the last meeting of this Water and Sewer Authority back in 2018, 2019. So I intend to go to that meeting too, since I was one of and I might have been the only citizen. Charlotte Gellert, I think, was at that meeting too. I take that back. I think Charlotte and Gellert and I may have been the last 2 citizens to attend a meeting of the Water and Sewer Authority. But I do, and when the band goes back together, I'm going back and listening to the concert one more time. But we have an authority that does $40 to $50 million a year, an enterprise fund. We have an enterprise fund that generates $40 to $50 million a year. And there is no oversight by the authority that is supposed to have oversight over those funds. And this administration said they put together a Water and Sewer Committee, which does the same thing. Negative. I have had in-depth conversation with members of the legislature then and now. Back then, we had got advice from the Legislative Council, which point blank said that the Water and Sewer Authority can only be dismantled by an act of the legislature, and that those Water and Sewer Authority officials, their authority was granted by the legislature and not by the county commission. So their oversight authority was granted to them by the state of Georgia and the powers of the Georgia legislature. So why would the Board of Commission think they could get by with? Because there is no, a lot of times they pass legislation, pass laws, and there's no enforcement clause in it. So to make them enforce it and obey the law, you have to sue government. Now, is that pathetic or what? That you have to sue the government to make them obey the law. Now, they don't have to sue you and I to make us obey the law. You know, they'll throw you and I in the Rockdale County Jail in a heartbeat for not obeying the law. But isn't that very interesting? That if there's no specific consequence, you have to sue them to make them obey the law. So what I would ask when the band gets back together, Clayton, I will definitely make sure you're aware when the band's going to get back together. So I would ask that our state legislature amend the enacting legislation of the Water and Sewer Authority to change who appoints those members and to put some deadlines by which they have to be appointed. And if that group doesn't appoint them, then that falls upon the Superior Court judges. I would actually like to see the Superior Court judges nominate a couple, state court a couple, Board of Commission a couple, magistrate court a couple. You know what I mean? I would like to see that divided up between all of them. And if it's divided up, and they'll all do it because it won't lie in one body. Now, why would the Board of Commission drag their feet and not appoint members to a committee? I think I mentioned the word a minute ago, the word oversight, because the Board of Commission does not want anyone to have oversight. The word oversight, the action of oversight. They do not want oversight. That is the problem. So we as citizens are asking and demanding for oversight. And this is that pesky thing that we got irritated about our past administration, that we would ask them to do things. We would go to town halls, then we would get lectured about why we were wrong and they were right. Did you guys get that feeling when you went to that last town hall that maybe you got that same, we're right and you're wrong, and this is why you're wrong, and this is why we're always going to be right? Guys, I just got this uneasy feeling we're getting ready to go down that same old path and same old road. So that's why I ask you, keep on your toes, pay attention. John Logan, I'm going to put that up there, John Logan, because you are right. In other words, they want the control. They want to control the money without the restrictions. Yes. And Michelle Freeman, I'm late again. Good evening. Michelle, you might be late, but you arrived just in time. So don't worry about that. You arrived just in time. So, but yeah, guys, don't get me wrong. I prefer this administration over the last administration. But I think we need to maybe kick this administration in the rear a little, tell them, hey, straighten back up. Stay between the lines. Don't veer left and right. We put you in here because we didn't like how the other administration didn't listen to us. We didn't like being gaslighted. We didn't like being telling we were wrong. We didn't like what you were doing. There's nothing wrong with you as citizens having an opinion contrary to the way your government is behaving. It's actually your right, because we live in a republic. We live in a place where there's representative government. Oh, here comes another one of them tough things, isn't it? Representative government. You know what? That's the thing, elected officials don't like hearing that. Representative government, right? I firmly believe in representative government. And I believe your word matters. Your voice matters, and your opinion matters. And when you're told Well, you don't understand everything. Well, why don't I understand everything? What are you not telling me that I don't understand? Speak to me clearly. Make me understand what I don't understand. Tell me what I don't understand. But as citizens, and I'm going to say, I made this comment a few weeks ago. As we look at economic development and growth and bringing things to this county, if we actually want to reduce our property taxes, we have to actually grow our tax volume, right? That means we have to grow business. So you can't say no to everything, right? If you say no to everything, then where are they going to get the tax revenue? They're going to get it off you, the homeowners. Well, because I'm going to give you a prime example. Nobody liked what they were going to do to the recycling and the garbage center, right? Because you preferred the fees the way they were. Well, you were 100% subsidizing it. You're going to be 100% subsidizing it no matter how they do it, because those additional fees they were going to charge on the back end, you're paying it. So you're going to subsidize it. But you would rather subsidize it and not know it by subsidizing it up front and not being charged fees. So if you want to continue using the recycling center as is, then you're going to have to continue paying the tax dollars to fund it as is. And, and I think you can do some things to minimize and reduce some of the costs there, but not a whole lot. You're just going to be real, because most of the cost there is the hauling off of the debris, because everything that comes in gets hauled off by a third party. So that's just reality, right? So we want our garbage, our recycling center, garbage service. We don't want to pay the after fees, but you're okay with it being subsidized. And you got to remember, that means tax dollars are subsidizing. So you got to be okay with paying some taxes. So, and that's where we've got to realize we've got to stop being against everything. We got to be for something if you actually want these property values to go down. We have got to increase that business tax digest. Budget cuts occur. You cut budgets. But with just as your prices go up, the cost of operating government goes up. The rate of inflation goes up, John. And that's what we've got to realize, right? Nothing's free. Everything costs. As soon as you cut budgets and you're not offering services, and then you charge fees, people complain about that too. So I'm going to be transparent and get on everybody here, not just get on government, but I'm going to get on us too, right? Is we've got to realize there's a cost to it. And you're right. I know, Bill, you were talking about, you and John both, as far as budget cuts and frivolous spending. I think we do what we can, get the cost to what we get them to, but realize costs are probably going to increase because prices increase, because goods and services increase, because the ability, because you have to pay people raises increase, health insurance and benefits increase. So that's why we need to be good stewards of our money. That's why I believe governments probably don't need to be given money to nonprofits. I don't believe that our county government needs to be funding nonprofits. I believe they passed a county rule 10 years ago against giving monies to nonprofits, and I think they've started that back. I don't think they changed the rule. I think they just started giving money back. Again, they can violate their own rule because they're not going to sue themselves, right? Now, you would have to sue them to make them do that. Bill, I do believe get rid of a lot of vehicles. George Kelichek has talked about that. I have talked about that, to reduce the amount of vehicles to just the amount that you need to actually function and to have a vehicle pool. I agree with that. I agree. Reduce the number of vehicles that you need, right? And then I think you got to remember, you can go about doing stuff in-house, or you can subcontract it out. John, you're saying they're willing to increase it beyond what is necessary, But when they decrease it below what you want, you'll complain also. Trust me, I've seen it. Probably been one of those people myself to complain about it. So I think we've got to be fair in what we want. We have to be clear with what we want. We have to realize if we want services and we want the government to do things, that there's a cost for it. We just expect it to be done efficiently and as cheap as possible. That's what I expect, right? And that's what that I think we need to do. Charlotte and I agree, including the sheriff's vehicles, 100%. So I agree with that. But I think, guys, I think the way to do this is keep your voices moving. Keep letting people know. Keep going to these Board of Commission meetings. Keep going to every meeting. Go to the Board of Commission. Go to the Board of Education. Go to City Council meetings. Go to the SPLOST Committee meeting. Go to everything. Let your voice be heard. Let your opinion be heard. And then when election time comes around and people didn't listen to you, then don't vote for them. That's what I do. I do that on a constant basis, right? So I recommend you to do the exact same thing. Do that same thing. So I've ranted about this one enough. Now I'll talk to you about future shows right now. So I want to talk to you guys about January the 4th. I really want you guys to start talking about that. I'm actually going to start posting about it this week because I'm going to have a very special guest on my show, January the 4th. I am going to have State Senator Emmanuel Jones from Henry County. And why is it so special that I'm having State Senator Emmanuel Jones on from Henry County? Because State Senator Jones is going to run for Congress to represent the 13th District. And why is that a big deal in Rockdale County? It's a big deal in Rockdale County because Rockdale County is a county that is solely represented by one congressman. One congressman. The congressman who represents the 13th District. So I have followed Senator Jones's political career. I have observed Senator Jones in the Georgia State Legislature, and I like Senator Jones. So I asked Senator Jones when I was at a town hall that he was at, would he be interested in coming on my show? He was very eager to come on my show because he believes that the citizens of this community need to hear from someone who is their congressman. And you know this thing about Senator Jones. Senator Jones will come on my show when he's Congressman Jones. And that'll be a difference from the missing in action congressman that we've had lately. So when we were part of the 4th and we had Hank Johnson does not come to this day. You got to come to Rockdale County. Don't come around. You don't see him. You don't hear from him. MIA. Congressman Scott hasn't even voted in the last 6 elections. Now, he's not even voted for himself to be reelected, right? So this is crazy, guys. Absolutely crazy. So I'm going to have State Senator Emmanuel Jones on my show, and we're going to let him talk about what he's going to do if he's elected to be your congressman. And then also we're going to get him to commit to coming on this show once every 4 months or something to give you a legislative update. That's what we're going to do. We're going to get people to commit to actually updating you locally. Now, if you've got some people that do that, I do that on this show. I'm an elected official. I talk to you all the time about stuff that's going on at the Board of Education and this and that. You get that update from me all the time. You get that more than you want from me. House Representative Rhonda Taylor has town hall meetings monthly at the library. You get updates from her constantly. She's always having in-person meetings. She's having online meetings. She is obtainable through email and phone calls. So you have a state rep who is obtainable and is willing to listen to you as a citizen. Now, I'm going to give credit to, Chairperson Van Ness. She is obtainable and accessible also. and you can reach out and talk to her. She'll always, get back to you even if she doesn't answer. So she'll communicate with you, and she'll have these meetings. I just don't agree with how they're running our county. And let me tell you what, as a voter and as a citizen, I'm allowed to have that opinion. I am. I'm allowed to have that opinion, and I do have that opinion. I don't think that even though people are listening and talking sometimes, they're being transparent, and I don't think that they're listening to what we want them to do. They still doing what they want to do. And I think it's very apparent by you look at how this government is reacting. And also, I've told you, this government behaves the way it behaves, and you still see all these same things going on because you have too many leftovers from the previous administration. When you don't change the bureaucrats, you still get the same type of internal working. Again, I'm going to make these same statements. Donald Trump did not keep Joe Biden's people. Joe Biden did not keep Donald Trump's people. You can go back farther than that. Donald Trump did not keep Barack Obama's people. Barack Obama did not keep George W. Bush's people. George H.W. Bush did not keep Bill Clinton's people. Big Bill Clinton did not keep George W. Bush's people. George W.H. So they were George W.H. and George W. George W.H. was the one that was after Ronald Reagan and before Bill Clinton. Nobody kept the other person's administration. Nobody kept the people that ran their stuff, right? And it's because they had an agenda. They wanted things run their way and done the way they wanted it. Even if it's not the way the previous administration, it's the way they're used to doing it. And that's the problem. You guys wanted change, and you didn't get change because you had the same people running government. That's what I have to say about it, right? And Samantha Swaney, and I agree with you. I'm going to put that up here because one of the reasons I do this show too is we do have a lack of local reporting. I really appreciate your service here with this show. This show fills a huge space where we're lacking a local newspaper. Really, thank you for this show. And that is one of the reasons that I do this show. And we keep it a local show. But, we've got to do things that matter. And shows like this matter. Your voice matters, your opinion matters. And I really want you guys, I'll get a text here. Wonder if somebody don't like what I said. That happens all the time with you, believe it or not. People don't like what I say. And they'll send me a message and tell me they don't like what you say. But said what I said. I really do appreciate you guys coming in here, having your opinion, putting out here what you've put out. And I appreciate that I have an audience that's willing to tolerate me every week and listen to me. So I want to thank you for that. Thank you for listening to me. Thank you for tolerating me. Again, remember, we are going to have that special show January the 4th with Emmanuel Jones on it. And I'm going to have some even more special shows coming up in the near future where we're going to have local folks running for office on here, right? So just pay attention to the announcements. And I'll be a little more diligent with putting out announcements on Facebook about the show. So John, I appreciate that. Your platform for the exchange of thoughts is valuable to this area, and that's what it is, right? I want everybody to have their opinion. John has different opinion than me sometimes, and that's okay because that's what this is about. It's about people being able to express their opinion on this show in this platform, and I welcome your opinion and the exchange of ideas. So let me go ahead and say thank you once again for indulging me. Thank you for allowing me to have this show. Thank you, the audience, for coming on and putting your comments in the chat. I look forward to seeing you all guys next week. I look forward to the shows that we're going to bring on here, and we're going to bring people on and have them bring their ideas to you if you elect them, what they intend to do. And I really can't wait to January 4th to introduce my friend Emmanuel Jones on this show. Thank you guys. Good night. And I can't wait to see you guys next week, Facebook and YouTube.